Intriguing yet mysterious symbols carved into the hard rock thousands of years ago. Archaeologists keep coming across the enigmatic rock carvings known as cup and ring markers. But what are the mysterious objects that have been discovered in the most diverse countries around the world really all about? Are they just beautiful works of art with no deeper meaning? Or do the prehistoric rock carvings hide a galactic message? Together with you today, we'd like to take a closer look at this exciting question, and we hope you enjoy this fascinating topic. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos. Cochno Stone. It was 1887 when the Reverend James Harvey made an extraordinary discovery near Cochno Farm in Scotland. In detail, the priest came across a huge rock that measured no less than 13 meters in length and almost 8 meters in width. That this was by no means an ordinary rock becomes clear when we take a look at the unique formations that adorn the object. The massive chunk was provided with around 90 precisely worked-out rock carvings, the so-called cup and ring markings. The special feature is that these ancient symbols, which consist of a central bowl and many concentric circles, have already been discovered many times. The archaeologists found what they were looking for in the British Isles in particular, but these prehistoric petroglyphs were also found in the Alps, in parts of Spain, and on the European Atlantic coast. The aforementioned find from Scotland, which was to become known as the Cochno Stone, is one of the most beautiful rock paintings ever found on Scottish soil with its filigree elaboration. In order to protect the venerable rock from damage, the comparatively soft Cochno Stone was buried in the 1960s. Later, however, the fascinating find was to be scientifically examined and publicly exhibited. Given the intriguing symbols that adorn the object, however, we shouldn't overlook an important question. What is the Cochno Stone actually? A cosmic map? It's commonly believed that the Cochno Stone was made around the year 3000 BC. But what reasons could have persuaded the people of that time in the transitional phase between the Neolithic Age and the Bronze Age to create such a structure? The question of what's really behind such millennia-old petroglyphs is still a source of heated debate among experts. Accordingly, there's no consensus among the experts as to what the enigmatic symbols really aim for. The theories on this range from Neolithic works of art to a form of written language to ancient star maps. However, the sobering truth is, we don't know. Some researchers believe that structures such as the Cochno Stone once played an important role in religious rituals. Accordingly, the massive rock slabs could have served our ancestors as ceremonial tablets, though we have to admit that this seems to be a common claim among historians. More and more often, when researchers seem to have no real explanation for an artifact that was recently found, it gets labeled as a religious relic or some sort of ceremonial object. However, in reality, most of the time experts have no real evidence for this, and it's simply their best guess. Because of this, it's important that we wait for further research and a better examination before making such claims. No less exciting is the assumption that the Cochno Stone was used as a map on which all the settlements in the area at that time were immortalized. But what about the strange symbolism of the cup and ring markings, which, in their shape, really do not seem reminiscent of map drawings? If you follow one exciting theory, the rock paintings embody the cycle of life and reflect the belief in reincarnation at the time. Because of this, some people believe that the stone was carved to represent the afterlife or the skies above. And in truth, this could be correct. Astronomy in Antiquity. The first manned moon landing, highly complex rovers on Mars, the discovery of thousands of exoplanets. In view of the groundbreaking astronomical milestones that have been reached in the past few decades, one might quickly think that detailed space exploration is a phenomenon of modern times. It may be true that our ancestors were of course incapable of launching rockets and satellites into space, but this doesn't mean, conversely, that the ancient scholars didn't cast an inquiring eye at the starry sky. As the stars appear to be moving across the sky each night, the ancients too have gazed upward and wondered just where the Earth sits in the larger picture of the cosmos. Over time, different civilizations have developed different systems to render understanding of the universe tangible in an earthly context. The astronomical research systems that arose in the ranks of Babylon and the ancient Egyptians would later serve as the basis for Greek astronomy. And, in fact, it is above all the exciting work and world of thought of the ancient Greeks that is still extensively documented today. The background to this is that the astronomical research tradition of the Greeks was later taken up and further developed by Islamic and European scholars. If we take a closer look at the understanding of astronomy in ancient Greece, the first fact might surprise us. The astronomers of that time already knew that our Earth was almost spherical in shape. The assumption that ancient researchers saw our earthly home as a flat disk is actually a widespread misconception. How did the researchers come to this conclusion? They just trusted the things they saw. In the 5th century BC, Anaxagoras and Empedocles noticed the first valid references to the spherical face of our home planet. In the context of a lunar eclipse, the researchers recognized that the shadow that our home planet casts is clearly round. The logical conclusion is that the object that creates this shadow must also be round or spherical. However, since lunar eclipses are not known to occur very often, other ways had to be found to underpin the thesis of the spherical Earth. Here, it was above all seafaring that was to provide the experts with important information about the shape of our planet. Whenever a ship appeared on the distant horizon, it was the tip that was the first to reveal itself, a fact that corresponds exactly to the assumption that our Earth is spherical. If the Earth were flat, one would expect that the entire ship would be seen as soon as it came into view. Measuring the Earth. With the help of lunar eclipses, Greek astronomers not only succeeded in recognizing the shape of our Earth, but also in gaining other important insights into our home planet. Thus, Aristarchus of Samos came to the conclusion that the size of the Earth's shadow on the Moon's surface could also be used to calculate the dimensions of our planet. Also, Eratosthenes of Cyrene, one of the leading Greek scholars in the 3rd century BC, dealt with the determination of the Earth's circumference. Assuming that the cities of Alexandria and Cyrene lie on the same meridian, he measured the shadows cast by both locations to calculate their angles relative to the sun. The realization: the circumference of the Earth is around 250,000 stadia. The problem: the exact value of the length of the stadium is completely unknown these days. The fact that the worldview of the ancient Greeks differed drastically from ours today is proven, among other things, by the assumption made by Aristotle. Like Plato and Empedocles before him, he believed that our cosmos is made up of 4 basic elements: fire, water, air, and earth. There was simply no such thing as empty space in the polymath's research system. Applied to the field of cosmology, the 4 fundamental elements could be distinguished in terms of their weight. While Earth represented the heaviest element, fire and air embodied the lightest. Aristotle assumed that the lighter substances are slowly moving away from the center of the universe, while the heavier ones are drifting further and further towards the center. All things that could not be clearly classified as fire, water, earth, or air should therefore have represented mixtures of these elements. Aristotle was also certain that the natural laws that prevail on Earth could not be transferred to the other parts of the universe. Their own rules should apply there. Findings and legacy. In turn, the careful study of the night sky provided ancient astronomers with the realization that the universe is adorned with 2 distinct types of celestial objects. At that time, these were divided into fixed stars and wandering stars. Most of the sparkling entities seemed to be moving at exactly the same speed, staying true to their ancestral order, the fixed stars. Other bodies, such as the Moon, the Sun, and the other planets, on the other hand, displayed completely independent independent movement patterns. For the Greeks, these were the wandering stars. Transferred to a cosmic picture, all these structures are said to have been located within a large galactic sphere. The corresponding sphere was in turn divided into an outer heavenly and an inner earthly area. While we know today that the universe is constantly expanding and subject to the most diverse processes of change, Aristotle believed that the cosmos was an entirely unchangeable entity. Ptolemy later made a model that could be used to determine and predict the movements of the heavenly bodies. To do this, he used eccentric circles whose centers did not represent the Earth, but other points in space. The complex model that emerged from the scholar's observations was astonishingly precise. In this way, Ptolemy eventually became a kind of forerunner of the mathematical research tradition, whose models focused primarily on predicting expected processes and movements in the universe. Even if the views of the ancient Greeks often differed drastically from our current knowledge, they nevertheless played an important part in paving the way for the modern knowledge-producing culture of research. Measurements of the stars. One interesting aspect about the Greek people and their history is that they must have had a highly advanced knowledge of mathematics in order to come to some of these wild and mostly accurate conclusions about the universe. We know that the Greeks were extremely intelligent compared to other people of the world, and this is true when we consider the Antikythera mechanism, a device that may have helped aid in plotting out our natural world. The Antikythera mechanism is one of the most interesting pieces of equipment we've ever discovered, and it was found off the coast of Antikythera, an island that belongs to Greece. Ever since its discovery, scientists have been working day and night to understand what this device could have been used for and how it was constructed. We know that it was built from bronze, but almost any hope of bringing the device back to life has been completely destroyed. It's far from oxidized and is completely seized. Thankfully, computers have allowed us to create digital reconstructions of the device, but that still doesn't mean that our theories are completely true. Most scientists believe that the device would have been used to monitor the stars and would have been finely tuned to coincide with the sun, moon, and various planets in the solar system. The mechanism would have helped the Greeks to better understand the movements of the planets and help them cultivate crops based on the incoming seasonal changes. This theory continues to claim that the device could have also functioned as a calendar, and that would have been used to create solar calendars, lunar calendars, and even a 4-year calendar. Still, we don't know any of this for certain, but research is still ongoing, and we could eventually have an explanation about how this device was built and what it would have been used for. For the moment, we're left with nothing more than guesswork by scientists and experts, but there's a lot of hope that this device will be deciphered once and for all in the coming years. Clearly, ancient humanity had a lot more answers about the universe than we have today. By all means, ancient humans were likely far smarter than we could ever give them enough credit for. While they may not have had access to all the technology that we have today, they used the resources around them to come up with some very inventive ways of navigating the world. We're interested in your opinion. What do you think of the mysterious Cochno Stone and the astronomical research of the ancient Greeks? Let us know what you think about today's video in the comments below. If you liked our post, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to stay up to date from now on. Thank you for watching. Have a good one, and see you next time.